What is Form 2441? IRS Form 2441 determines how much of the child and dependent care credit a taxpayer can claim on their tax return. Eligible taxpayers must complete and submit Form 2441 with their Form 1040 tax returns to claim the child and dependent care credit. This form details the amount paid for dependent care under qualifying circumstances and to whom payment was made. It also calculates the available tax credit. How Form 2441 works. The information included on Form 2441 determines if your family qualifies for the child and dependent care credit and for how much. Simply submitting Form 2441 with your tax return doesn't ensure you can receive the credit. Several qualifying rules apply, and you must meet all of them. Each section of the form details these rules and requires information to determine if you meet them. The credit is worth up to $3,000 in expenses for one qualifying dependent, increasing to $6,000 for two or more dependents. It's calculated based on 20% of your expenses if your adjusted gross income, AGI, is more than $43,000. The percentage increases incrementally the less you earn, topping out at 35% of your expenses if you earn $15,000 or less annually. Form 2441 helps you make the calculation. The expenses can be paid to a care center or an individual who provides care for your dependent in your home or theirs. Care must be necessary so you can leave home to work or look for work, and you must identify the caregiver or caregivers in Part 1 of Form 2441.3. Do you qualify for the credit? The working or looking for work rule is key. Paying care expenses for any other reason won't qualify. You and your spouse must meet this rule if you're married and file a joint return. Many spouses who file separate married tax returns don't qualify for the child and dependent care credit, the criteria for which is addressed on Form 2441 in Line A. Those who do qualify must have lived separately from their spouse throughout the last 6 months of the year. Their home must have been their dependent's primary home for at least half the year, and they must have paid more than half the cost of maintaining that home. Your dependents must also qualify, and children must be younger than age 13. Your spouse will qualify if they're physically or mentally unable to care for themselves and they lived with you for more than 6 months of the year. An unrelated individual can qualify as well, provided that they're your dependent or could have been your dependent, except they had too much income. They must also be incapable of caring for themselves and must have lived with you for more than half the year.